Now, those people who listen to this podcast, and there are many, many of you, millions and millions, will know that I've really enjoyed NAWA of late, and it feels like a family. And one of the participants that I've enjoyed is Curtis Robertson, the throwback himself, and he has graced me with his presence. I have him here in front of me, virtually, of course. So I'd like to chat to him about how he got into this fantastic sport and entertainment that we call wrestling, and how he got into the NAWA. So, how are you, Mr. Robertson?
Steve Swift, how are you? I'm doing fantastic today.
Great. It is lovely to see you. And, you know, I really enjoy watching you every week on, well, more or less every week now on NAWA. Because you're also, if you're not wrestling, and let's talk about that in a minute, because you're a current tag champion, which is superb. You're showing me the belt. It's right there. That's superb. That's behind you. That's lovely. I love that. You've got 2 belts hanging up there. 2 belts.
Well, yeah, the other one's from a different company.
Oh,
where I'm a tag team champion there as well.
That's superb. You see, well, first of all, let's talk about how long you've been in this superb business and how did you get into it? Because, you know, you know exactly what you're doing in the wrestling ring, not just as a wrestler, but as a bloody good heel as well. So, how did you get into it? What made you think, I want to be in there?
Oh, that's a great question. So I've been wrestling September 29th, like 4 years this year. So this is a little bit under 4 years I've been wrestling here. I actually had my first set of matches against the Allen brothers at a fair in Rowan County in North Carolina in front of a petting zoo. And the petting zoo was more widely attended than the wrestling was, and the goats were heckling us. They sort of, take it home, boys. That's enough. But I've always liked wrestling ever since I was a little kid. I got, in my personal life, you know, I got married young. I started a career, had a family, so I stopped playing sport, kind of became a couch potato.
Yeah.
And then the COVID happened, and here in the States, we locked everybody in the houses. I said to myself, if I ever got out, if they ever let us out, I'm gonna try to do something that I love, and wrestling was the thing. So for that year, in 2021, for my birthday, my wife gave me a birthday card, and it had the money in it to go to wrestling school.
Oh.
And George South had a wrestling school in Charlotte.
Yeah.
In conjunction with High Spots, and I started to go there in April of 21, and I had 2 left feet, and I was terribly out of shape, but I stuck with it for a long time, and you know, a lot of the guys wouldn't have anything to do with me because, you know, a lot of the wrestling schools are just like anything else. At the time, Saquon Sugars from the WWE was there now.
Yeah.
As a trainee. He was talented. Mike Vaughn was a talented guy. He would run the classes sometimes. And then you had other talented guys from the area that would be there, but the rest of us were just kind of bodies for them to throw around.
Yes.
And you learn what worked. But I stuck with it, and J.D. Drake kind of took me under his wing. And when that school closed down, he went to a different school. And that's where the throwback persona came from. He kind of helped me come up with that, and we're still going at it.
That's fantastic. You see, the thing is, that's like a fairy tale story. And when you said I've been doing this for about 4 years, watching you in the ring and listening to you, it doesn't seem like it's been that short time. It seems like you've been doing this for an awful long time. Does it? I mean, did it come to you? I mean, after you left wrestling school, did it come to you naturally? Did you think I was born to do this?
Not at all. No, I am not a natural. I've seen, and you can see some of the guys in the NAWA too. Like if you look at a guy like Jordan Holt,
yeah,
natural talent. The Allen brothers, the facial expressions, the movements, the athleticism, that stuff. Zay Vega, that stuff comes natural to them. I've got to work very hard to keep up with those guys there. I'm a fair bit older too. You wouldn't be able to tell that by looking at me either, but I'm a fair bit older than those guys, so I've got to work at the conditioning as well to be
And the thing is, that's really interesting because for you, it's a total package situation, isn't it? Because, your character is indivisible from your wrestling work. And that's what I really like. So, there are an awful lot of wrestlers and great wrestlers who can give us those spots. But I really like those wrestlers who, like yourself, who really, who sell so beautifully, who do all that. And that's what it's all about for me. The entertainment is what it's all about for me. I mean, I suppose I'm interested in whether that was something that came to you naturally or at wrestling school. Was it, well, this is how, this is a full package, really. This is how it works. Because it does seem completely natural to you.
No, a lot of that was I had to get pulled out of me as well. Where I'm always being told you got to be more over the top, be more aggressive. So those are things that I'm still working on now. But there's a lot of bad footage of me out there. If you can find stuff online, and you can kind of look at the stuff from 21 and 22 and the stuff now and kind of see the difference. That's one of the bad things about nowadays is that if this was in the 80s or the 90s and you were having, learning and having bad matches in front of people, just that audience saw it, and there wasn't a record of it forever. But if anybody types my name in after this and they pull up something from 2021 or 2022 when I was wrestling an alternative wrestling showcase or what have you, they'll say, well, Steve Swift's off this rocker because this guy's terrible.
But they should be watching NAWA because, you're a massive presence on there, and you also get the commentary going with Holy Christ, Michael Elliott. He's had some co-hosts in his time, in the time I've been watching. So how did you come across that gig, and how easy was it for you? Because it does seem again as if you've segued into that beautifully.
Well, talking's always been easy for me. You know how some people have a natural fear of speaking or public speaking, or some people are afraid of snakes, some people are afraid of heights.
Yeah.
People are talking. I've never had the fear of talking. To when I was a kid, I was in a debate club, and if I'm at my regular day job, I'm doing presentations or leading meetings. And so just talking about stuff that you're interested in seems pretty, normal and natural to me. So I just asked for an opportunity to do that, and where the magic happens of the editing and talking about the shows. Michael Elliott doesn't live too far from me, so it's convenient, and it was a natural fit. We tried it out, we had some fun with it. So that's one of the things I wanted to do since I was a little kid. So I wanted to be a broadcaster.
Great.
I get the chance to do that here too. That's one thing I love about NAWA. I get to wrestle. I can do funny vignettes if I want to. I get to have an interview with a guy tonight. I can do the commentary. Then you got to do the other stuff too. You got to set up the ring and tear it down, but you can talk to the fans and everything else. But you get to wear every hat, pop the corn, and take the tickets and everything.
Yes. It's brilliant that you're able to do that, and it does seem like a real family show. And I spoke to Michael, and he was saying the atmosphere is superb, and it does seem like a real. I feel watching it from across the pond in Manchester here in the UK that, and you'll know I've come to that feeling recently, but the NAWA has grabbed me, and it seems like a real family atmosphere. I presume that's the way it is, and it feels warm to you.
Yeah, we all get along great. There's a great atmosphere in the back. Everybody's trying to help everybody else out and put on a good show. I've been in some other, I've been to all types of promotions in the Carolinas here, and sometimes the environment's great, sometimes it's not great.
Yeah.
But you have folks that are watching each other's matches and cheering on and trying to get better at it. That's what it's all about. How did you? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Switch. How did you come across the NAWA?
I think that I was watching, because during COVID, again, I thought I really should do something a bit different. And people have been saying to me for ages, because I used to be an actor, I used to make my living as an actor many years ago. I've done a lot of different things. And I write on wrestling and all of that. And people said to me, why don't you should do a podcast. And I said, I don't know. And then, as you say, when COVID came along and we were in lockdown as well, I thought, well, there's no excuse now. I need to find a platform, which I did, easy to do, because I'm not someone who's going to set everything up and do loads of microphones and all that. I'm not like that. I'm fundamentally lazy in that respect. So I just want to sit there generally with my phone and say, I'm just going to go through and I'm not going to edit. I'm just going to do it. And if something happens, I'll just carry on. So that's how I did it. I then, because I've been a wrestling fan since I was a wrestling fan in the 70s. I'm nearly 60 now. So I was a wrestling fan in the 70s. I remember watching Giant Haystacks, Big Daddy, all of those, Jim Breaks and all of those people. And then watching the WWF. And I've gone back to 1989, 1991 recently to watch all of that. So, I used to watch that with a friend of mine who had Sky. And he had Sky. He was one of the early adopters of, cable TV, really, Sky. And we called it Skyovision because you couldn't see it. It was so grainy you couldn't really see it. We thought, something's happening there. I think it's Hulk Hogan, but I'm not quite sure. But it's great to see it. And from then, I've scoured YouTube to watch independent shows because there are so many of them out there. I think I watched American Wrestling. And then from there, the NAWA was mentioned, I think. And I thought, I'll have a look at that. And I didn't really enjoy it at first. I enjoyed it because I didn't enjoy it. And then, suddenly, I thought, I know what they're trying to do here. And it was my block. It was my problem. And then, since then, I've really loved it. And I still don't like some of the wrestlers there as much as others. But, generally, I think it's a wonderful show. That's how I got into it. And it's one of many, many independent shows that I do. And now independent wrestling companies message me and say, would you like to watch ours? Which is just, it's great. And, one of the reasons why I watch it is to watch you. So, it's great that there are so many great characters in there, and I love it. And I really like your throwback gimmick. It's not just a gimmick, though. I think it's kind of an ethos. How did you come up with that?
Well, like I said, JD Drake had a lot to do with that, helping me put it together. So, my favorite wrestlers when I was watching growing up, I like Ted DiBiase, Nick Bockwinkel, Bobby Heenan,
yes,
stuff like that. Those are the people that I liked. And if you notice, in my promos, I never shout. Nick Bockwinkel never really shouted. Bobby Heenan didn't much either.
Yeah.
And I like the bad guys that way. So I was trying to Paul Orndorff, another guy I liked. I wish I had his physique, but that's the kind of thing I was trying to put together to kind of harken back to that 80s style of, we're going to have a grappling contest. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Let's try to cheat so we can get over the top that way, and be a character like that. So that I kind of put into it there, and then the sunglasses and stuff like that is kind of trying to separate out, because a lot of these little towns that I go to, these people don't have a lot of money or anything. So if I get a pair of designer sunglasses and a chain, it's easy to make fun of them. All my jewelry's worth more at your house and so on, which is true. But that's neither here nor there.
It is a great character. It's great, and your wrestling is quite old school in that respect. It really works in that way. Is that something that you thought of, or is that something that is that your style? Because it does seem as though it fits your, I'll call it a gimmick, but it's an ethos really well.
Yeah, they kind of go together. There's that style of wrestling. I kind of like that too, because, like I said, a lot of people start out in this business they'll start out 18, 19, 20 years old, and it's okay to have that starving artist lifestyle and devote everything to it, because you don't have anything and you don't know any better. So you don't know what you're missing out on. But I started this when I was 36.
Yes.
And I've already had a family and a career, and my health is important, and people are counting on me. So I need to have a wrestling style where I can get up out of bed on Monday.
Sure.
And still be able to be entertaining. And I also kind of like I was at a seminar this weekend, and it's like the difference in styles from the old time, the old timers now. If you're talking to like a George South now, or if you're talking to a Ricky Morton, they'll teach you to do things one way.
Yeah.
The producers that are in the WWE now and the folks that are doing seminar style will teach you the exact opposite. And so you're trying to find the balance there where you have the old school style where maybe you're shooting a guy off with one hand and then we're just going to, that got me out of the headlock and that's fine, we're going to ignore that and keep going. Versus that you have the Ring of Honor style now where you hit a big move on somebody and then you get on top of them and you start pummeling them.
Yeah.
And, why is this a TK? If I'm watching UFC, if somebody's laying motionless, getting punched in the head, they call the fight off.
Yes.
So you're trying to walk that line of, I don't want to take the fans out of it while they're watching it. I want there to be some suspension of disbelief. We all know what's going on. But at the same time, I also want to be able to, be ambulatory when I'm 50.
Sure. No, absolutely. That works really well. And it works with your character. And, it's successful. And let's go back to that big gold belt behind you. You're now a tag champion in NAWA. How does that feel? That must be exciting for you and Mike.
Oh, that's very exciting. What I'm really hoping to do, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but at some point I really want to be able to fight the Allens and beat them again.
Yeah.
You may not know this, Steve Swift, because it's happened in other places, not necessarily at NAWA, but I already have an Allen Grand Slam. I've pinned all the Allens before. So it would be great to do that again because here in the Carolinas, they're the two-time back-to-back they're tag team of the year.
Yeah.
But I don't think they should be the tag team of the year anymore because me and Mike are the champs.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to fighting Big Nasty and Dusty Money again, those drunkards Shot Express. I've got something for them or anybody else that wants to challenge us. I think we're going to hold on to those belts for a long time.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic, and it's it's well deserved. It was a surprise. I didn't think it would happen, and that's what NAWA does. It surprises me constantly, which it's lovely. It's a great promotion, and you're a huge part of it, and it's great to chat with you. This must be a kind of fulfillment, as you say, of something you've always wanted. You seem really, really happy with this.
Oh, yeah, I love it. That's my favorite thing to work for. I try to put everything else in wrestling kind of around the NAWA because they gave me a chance when nobody else would. I kind of got the chance to roll with it. And I'll tell you, a lot of the guys over here, we kind of look forward to your reviews. What did Steve say this week? I tell you what, I fell in love with you. I had a match with George, and you said that I carried the match. I said, I'm going to show this to him because he'll curse at me. And he never curses because he's a very religious guy. But I'm get mad. He'll punch me right in the head. Like George, you got time to hang him up. I'm carrying you now. But he would give me a hard time for that.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. You kind of wait to see what Steve's going to say. What's he going to like? What's he not going to like?
Well, yeah, I'll be continuing to watch. It's exciting when a new episode drops. It's great, and it is lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you. Can I plug one thing here?
Of course, you can.
Really quick. So I started doing a podcast too, in part because you're doing one here, and then there's a lot of other guys working on. So I can do one too. I did the microphone, the equipment, all that other stuff. So the Curtis Robertson show's on Thursdays. It comes out at noon on Thursdays. You can do it on Spotify, Apple, or on YouTube.
And let me tell you, folks, I've heard it, and it's very, very good. I've listened in, and I like it. So yeah, have a listen to that. It's great, and your work's fabulous. And thank you very much for chatting with me. It's great and thank you for taking the time. You're a busy guy.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Steve. Have a great day.
You too, mate. Take care. Bye bye. And there, ladies and gentlemen, Follocks, is Curtis Robertson, the throwback. What a lovely gentleman to speak to. What a nice guy. Really nice to have a chat. And NAWA, well, I kind of fallen in love with it. So I'll be speaking to a lot more NAWA wrestlers and personalities. Oh, I can't wait. Ta-ta.